went up to chip theory and I chucked out Elder Scrolls, which is coming to
What'd you think?
Man. Okay. So
Here we go.
Okay. So
here we go.
Take it all with a grain of salt and all that stuff, because they brought me up there and it was a whole shebang, whatever. But everybody knows who knows me. I'm like, chip theory fans, those people are my friends, and that's probably why they brought me up there, right? And I said, don't bring me up there to show a game that sucks. So I went up there knowing fully well. So I went up there and played Elder Scrolls. I mean, like, if you're a person that happens to love like Too Many Bones, but you thought like Too Many Bones is too difficult or is just has so much of barrier of entry, this will be the game that you probably want to look at because you were interested. And it's in the Elder Scrolls world. It's Elder Scrolls Online, not Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
But you're basically going on these adventures. It's got it's got a structure to it, but it's still very open, which is what I like, what I love about it. But the whole idea is that it has familiarities with Too Many Bones, as far as like how characters are created. But you definitely go off on your own path. For example, so your mats and Too Many Bones, you have these dice that you put in and slot them in, and you slot them in and you kind of flip them around and get certain abilities. This one here is a little different. You have these different lanes that are down like this, and whatever stats you have, you can add to them, but they take away from your ability to add more stats on the other side. So it's kind of like you're building your character as you go along, like you would in Elder Scrolls or Skyrim, because the more you do of something, you get better at that something. So they've simulated that, but there's also the trade-off of not being good at the other thing. And they kind of kept the same thing with Too Many Bones, where it's like bad die rolls turn into like a little thing you can keep and unleash them for blocking. So it's not like this new thing. They got some new cool stuff that's like similar to Too Many Bones, but it's not Too Many Bones. And it also looks like Cloudspire because they use the same attack dice. I believe they're not going to be the exact same dice. The mats are used for random generated dungeons, and they have this little cool mechanic with cards that determines your generated dungeon.
Are they dual layer player mats?
Yeah, so those are they're like the neoprene mats.
Typical chip theory things.
Yeah, chip theory, neoprene mats. Yeah. So there's like this thing where you put out these cards, and then like it'll tell you what the layout is, and you put that tile down. So every time you open a room, it's almost like how like in Zelda, like back in the day, you go to a room, it opens up, and then you pull out. Let's say you pull out a card, and it tells you whether it's like a small or a big room or a one that curves like this. What I found is that this game overall is easier to play than a Too Many Bones session.
Okay.
And it's shorter. So I think once you wrap your head around like the first game, you'll like, and that's another thing. You could just teach people how to play this game. Like it's way easier. Like we were like up and going and done in like 2.5 hours. So, and that was with learning. So
there aren't a lot of pictures on here that I can find, Jeremy.
No, there are plenty of pictures I took, but I didn't prep you for that. But they got some cool little mechanics for your abilities, and you can kind of like customize yourself a little bit. So it's like I said, it's familiar stuff. Got some familiar stuff in there. It's got some chip theory overall DNA. But it's definitely its own game. I mean, even the way you move around the map is very interesting and different. It's got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, Adam the Austin has a GameFound.com. Looks like. So is it on GameFound or it's not quite?
Yeah, so it's coming to GameFound. I think in like 2 weeks, like 2-3 weeks.
Thank you for sharing that, Adam the Austin. Hey, we also have old friend of the show, Jordan Hopper. Haven't seen Jordan in forever.
Jordan.
Cool to have Jordan there.
It's cool.
We saw Patrick Newman.
Back. Yeah.
We've seen a couple of people from Southern Board Game Fest, which Jeremy, you still have not been to yet.
I have not. Yeah,
we got the Dobster checking in.
Is that in NOLA or no?
No, it's in Acadiana where I am. So just two hours west of New Orleans. I will tell you, the crew from Tampa, they made it a whole 4 or 5 day thing where they did New Orleans, they did the World War II museum, and then they came out to our big convention. So you could do
that, man. I'm gonna do that.
Special
all
guest,
you have to do, I mean, it depends on how special I am. Are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? Are you gonna fly me out with a bottle of my favorite champagne, red carpet? You know what I'm saying? Like
David Wainwright, what's the travel budget for Man versus Meeple? I need to know the travel.
Jeremy, you gotta make your Scotch request now.
He said, "That's what I'm saying. You got to make the Scotch request right now. All I need is a nice bottle of Scotch, and I will fly down there myself."
Steve, what do you recommend for Jeremy at Southern Board Game Fest? What Scotch?
Kleinlich 14.
Okay.
Right here.
Good choice, Jeremy. Good
solid.
choice.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab mine real quick.
There you go.
By the way,
officially a gumbo party now.
By the way, chat crew, none of this is in the show notes. We've literally done a game and we've done topics that aren't in the show notes at all. So